Tired of wiping on the same boss for hours?
Die, insect.
Can't seem to win against that new druid deck?
My thanks to you.
Are your teammates not standing on the payload?
Quit lollygagging. Get on the payload.
Well, grab a drink and pull up a chair. This is the Game Case Show, your Blizzard Entertainment podcast. Here are your hosts, Cuddles and Turarts.
Well, hello, hi, howdy, and welcome to episode 77 of The Game Case. I am Chris, also known as Cuddles, a brewmaster monk on Airy Peak in the Convert to Raid Guild.
And I'm Turt, a Beast Mastery Hunter, also on the Airy Peak server in the Convert to Raid Guild.
This week, we're going to talk a little bit about our week in gaming. We're going to answer some questions from the wonderful Cuddle crew, and then we're going to be talking to possibly the one person on Earth who snores louder than I do. He is completely responsible for my lack of sleep at BlizzCon 2016, but to his merit, he is an incredible friend, an amazing podcaster, and somebody that I think you guys are really going to enjoy meeting tonight. Adam Eastwood, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing pretty amazing. It's been a great week. New job, HGC stuff. My daughter's been a little sick, but, you know, that's a calm down time. So it's been great. Great week.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely full schedule to visit up with us today. How was your week of life?
Like I said, it's been, pretty good. Kind of the biggest thing this week was the Heroes Global Circuit going live and getting to watch some of that over the weekend. Getting my wife to enjoy it. She found a team that she likes, so she's watching it with me. She doesn't do any real gaming with me ever, so that works out really well. She likes her own games and does her own time. Other than that, work and creating stuff and, watching Netflix.
Right on.
Nice. T, what about you? How was your week of life?
It was good, and this will be the last episode you hear me talk about the 4-year anniversary, but we packed this week full of tons of fun stuff, which we'll get to that in a moment. Otherwise, work, and it is a heat wave in Iowa. People are in t-shirts. I saw a couple pairs of shorts. We are in the 40s. So, pretty nice up here.
Nice. Why don't we go ahead and, guys, let's dive into what we've been up to this last week, either within or outside of the Blizzard universe. Adam, why don't you kick it off? What have you been up to with gaming?
I recently got into the Elder Scrolls Legends, which is their collectible card game. It's been a lot of fun, actually. I got into the open beta a while back, and I didn't play it because I was like, I'm already playing Hearthstone, so I don't need 2 collectible card games to drive me crazy, right? And then I picked it up maybe 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, wow, I really like this. I'm a longtime Magic the Gathering player, so it feels a little more like what I'm used to, a little more interactive in terms of I get to play stuff that affects you more, like a spell deck is actually viable, which is fun. Other than that, a little bit of WoW, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, kind of every Blizzard game out there. I play a little bit of every week at this point. Otherwise, I burn out really easily. I've gone through times where I play just one game and then the other, and now I've decided to just play a little bit of everything throughout the weekend. You can enjoy it all.
Nice. Tia, what about you?
It has been the 4-year anniversary week, so we jam-packed a ton of things. I did some Overwatch, and I suck at it, but it was a lot of fun. We had Hearthstone things happening, Heroes. We did Mythics. We were in WoW. We were all over the place. So a lot of gaming going on this week. And then we talked about this a little bit kind of in the pre-show. Got some board game action going. I played Candyland with the kid and tried my hardest to lose, but could not. But that's okay. Otherwise, yeah, just all over the Blizzard universe this week. Lots of fun happening. What about you, Cuddles? What are you up to this week in games?
So I finally got back into Elite Dangerous, which I have been out of for quite some time. I'm really, really happy to be back playing that. For those that don't know, it's a big space simulator kind of MMO that I'm absolutely in love with. And I got to raid in Nighthold.
Nice.
So Nighthold opened up, the rubber chickens went in, and we did doth dawn 2 of the mightiest of the mighty bosses that were ever to grace the Nighthold. Then we got our butt kicked by the weird guy that puts poop on the ground, and then like you have to clean up the poop. And I don't know that we ever actually figured out that mechanic, but that was a whole lot of fun. Outside of that, Hearthstone, I made sure that I was up to my rank 20, and just kind of been chilling, really enjoying gaming lately. And I am now officially, I think it's what is today, Sunday. I'm like 3 days from getting on a plane and being in San Antonio for PAX South. So super excitement on the horizon. And yeah, I could not be a happier gamer right now. So, since you guys are lagging really bad, before I kick us into cuddle questions, I'm going to end the Skype call and restart it.
Okay.
And see if that fixes it. If it doesn't, we'll just run with it, and the video will be a little bit laggy. The audio sounds great. Mm-hmm. So podcast side, we're fine. So I will grab you guys back in just a moment.
Okie dokie.
All right, guys, bear with me for one moment while I try to get rid of the Skypes. I'm going to actually shut it all the way down and relaunch it. It's going to be the easiest way for me to end up editing this. We'll be just cutting it at the start of a segment. It's possible Skype did an update. I don't know. I've had a Windows update in the last week. So who knows? Who knows? I don't. Only the shadow knows. Let's get them both back in here, and we should be good to go. I apologize for the delay. Hashtag podcast things. Oh my gosh, you went into the right boxes too. That's incredible.
Hey.
Skype, thank you for once not totally screwing up everything. Well done.
Although we still want Discord.
Skype, you get the participation medal.
Yes, it does. You did stuff.
Yes. Thank you for doing mildly above adequate. So guys, this brings us. Let's do that again. I can do that with more vigor. So guys, this brings us to a wonderful and incredible part of the show, the part where we answer questions from you, the Cuddle Crew. Now, if you're wondering, how do I ask these questions that can be read on this wonderful and glorious podcast? Well, it's simple, my friends. Go to bit.ly/CuddlesDiscord. That's bit.ly/CuddlesDiscord. And put your questions for the show right in there. We will make sure to read them out on air. Say your name and get the opinion of our wonderful guest of the week. So we have one question from the Cuddle Crew this weekend. Terrarts, why don't you read it?
I will. This is from Zeph. She asks, Warcraft introduced its first micro holiday in AQ. Has there been any interaction with it, and how do you feel about it? Let's start with you, Adam.
You know, I really like the idea of micro holidays. I think the only problem I had this micro holiday was just the timing of it. So I didn't really get a chance to go in and do anything with it. It was pretty much a Wii from the computer all weekend. And but I like the idea. Like you can go in and it doesn't matter, right? So I missed this holiday, but I don't really feel like I really missed out on like a mount or an achievement. So from the perspective of missing it, I actually kind of like how they did it. They did a really good job with it. You know, I'm curious if who won, right, for NA. I haven't looked up, and I know some friends that have really been pushing hard on it, and I don't know who I want to win either because I've played Horde majority, but I'm Alliance now, so I'm like, who do I want to win this thing?
I think they're definitely a fun way to keep the game fresh because, like you said, you're not really missing out on a mount or pets or achievements, but it's still something where you can do something different and have a little fun, and your banner gets to be up all year to rub it in the other faction's face. So yeah, pretty exciting. I'm excited to see how they grow on these, because they said they were going to be kind of tinkering with them, adding more fiddling, so seeing what all they do with it. What about you, Cuddles? Have you had any interaction with it or opinions on them?
So bad WoW podcaster. I will be honest, I did not even know about this. I've been logging in. I've been doing my garrison mission board. That's totally not a garrison at all. It's a totally new concept with new and exciting mechanics. No, I've been doing that, and I've been doing world quests and trying to get my AP up and my AK, and doing the things so I can actually go in and hit things and they'll die now. So I mean, like, when does this? Do we know when does it end? Is it over?
Tuesday at according to Grand Nagus, Tuesday 3 a.m. server. So you still have all day tomorrow to rock out some stuff.
Well,
I might have to get on there.
I have to do that. That sounds like fun. And this is such a cool thing that they're doing. I will say about the overall concept, like the fact that they're going to take and do these little holidays and do little special things for us, and like you said, being able to have your side keep the banner, and like that's cool. I don't think even if the AQ thing isn't quite your deal, there's got to be stuff coming up that's going to be really cool. So guys, that is going to do it for questions from the Cuddle Crew. We appreciate you this week, Zev. Guys, don't remember to get those questions in for 2 weeks from now for our next show. And that was a whole lot of fun. Why don't we go ahead and let's jump right into the meat and the potatoes. Adam, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Oh, where do I start? So I'm a longtime Blizzard gamer. I've been playing Blizzard games since Diablo and StarCraft and Warcraft. So it's been a long time. I started off kind of as a console gamer, right? And I quickly switched out of that in high school. So I discovered Blizzard and just played the crap out of those games back in the day. My mom definitely was like, "What the hell are you playing?" Like, you're talking about Diablo and shit, because I don't know, she was weird. She thought it was weird. I played Diablo 2 during the times of like the black market, where you'd go on eBay and you could buy items. I don't know if you guys ever experienced any of that fun.
See, I did not, but I've heard about it.
Yeah, no, me and a friend, we had this great idea that we thought we were going to that's what we were going to do for a living. Like, we're just going to farm this stuff, and then eventually we'll make money off of it, because we'll just be able to sell this stuff, and we never did anything with it. So, other than that, I live in New England, right? Which gets pretty cold up here right about now. What else you guys want to know?
What's your sign? Are you an Aries? I'm getting a Pisces vibe here.
No, I'm a Gemini. But an interesting thing about it, right, is I have a twin, right? This is the weird thing. So, people are like, oh, Geminis have dual personalities. I only have one personality because my twin sister has her own.
So there you go.
So that's a kind of an interesting fact. And my wife's birthday is the most important day of the year, Star Wars Day. So
your wife's birthday is May the 4th?
Yes, and she gets mad at me.
That's my kid's birthday.
Oh, really?
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, she gets really mad because I'm like, it's the most important day of the year, and I'm like, it's Star Wars Day, and she's like, we've been married 5 years now, and she's like, first, I like Star Wars, so I know it's an important day. Second, you don't have to use the same stupid joke every year. So, so I'm a general all-around geek, so I like Star Wars, all that stuff too. Yeah.
Nice. So I have to hijack this for half a second since we're talking Star Wars. So we went furniture shopping today, and Rooms to Go has, which is a furniture store. I don't know if I think it's nationwide. It's at least down here in the Southeast. But anyway, they had these Star Wars beds. And one of them, and they're for kids, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of them is the Millennium Falcon bed. And so the headboard is like looking out for the little thing with the bars, like looking out the front of the Millennium Falcon. And it has USB charging ports and it has speakers in it. And it doesn't come in queen size, or I would have taken it home with me today. Like,
That might be worth getting separate beds over, though. Like, that might be worth it.
But the problem is then you end up fighting, right? Because you both can't have the Millennium Falcon, right? That's just, there's only one Millennium Falcon. So
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, rooms to go. If you guys are listening, make that in a queen size and I will pick it up. So this is not your first time on a podcast, Adam. Tell us a little bit about Netfreaks. What is that show? It sounds amazing. It sounds like something really cool that like I'd really be interested in.
It's like you've been on it. It's weird. So Netfreaks is a show where we cover Netflix original series. So we cover random shows like The OA. This week we're covering Frontier, and then we cover obviously things like Luke Cage, Daredevil, and all those the popular Marvel shows. We started it about a little over a year and a half ago. In which, so we're hitting about episode 100. Actually, this I think a week or two from now. So we're getting up there, and I do it with Brolon, who actually is a big CTR guy, or he was a CTR guy when he played WoW. I think he's taking a break now, and we did the Nexus together, which was a Heroes podcast, and Heather Woodcock is on it as well. She's the Sundering. I can't remember what podcast she does. She's from the Sundering, so a lot of people know her. She did Con. She helped run Con Before the Storm, and then Javier, who's Duke or Daikatsu. He was on Monk Meditation with me for a while too. So we binge shows usually between Friday and Sunday, and then we record Monday. So we're pretty fresh in terms of the content. If it comes out Friday, we record Monday. So we watch a lot of shows in quick succession, and how it's meant to be in the binge mode. And we just started doing new things like Chris recorded with us our first audio commentary where we watched Kung Fury and commented on it. And we're starting to do a live show once a month. And that live show is kind of like the news surrounding Netflix, right? So what's coming out, what we're excited for, what we might have watched, but didn't record because there's so much coming out now.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like I watched the White Rabbit Project, the kind of the new Mythbustery show on Netflix, but we didn't cover it because it just doesn't fit in how we cover things. So that was the time I was able to say, hey, everyone, go watch this now. It's like Mythbusters, but dialed back just a little bit because they don't have as much money as Mythbusters has.
Like Mythbusters, but instead of actually sinking a boat, they just have like a toy boat in a bathtub and like a shaky handy cam. At their uncle's house. Like what?
Not quite that bad. It's more like instead of busting myths big myths every episode, they take like 6 things that are similar and they like test a couple of them and then kind of say which one's better. Like bank heists and whether or not how they did it was correct or stuff like that. Nice. It's not plastic boats on water with cell phone cameras. Hey guys, I got a new camera. It's gonna look better this year. My cell phone got an upgrade, so.
Once we got over the exploding cell phones, the show really, really took off. Too bad Pete lost his hand.
Yeah, they like explosions, but if your recording device explodes, you don't get to record. It's real weird.
Yeah, that's always rough. So I do have to ask you, since we're talking a little bit about Netfreaks and what all they've covered, because it genuinely is one of my favorite non-gaming podcasts to listen to, and something that I regularly check out. Usually after I've watched a show, I'll go listen to what you guys thought and like yell at my phone the entire like no Adam, that's not what that was. But will you concede the point officially and finally that Fuller House is the Citizen Kane of Netflix originals?
So I love Fuller House.
I love it.
It's Dave who
so
hates
good.
it.
Yeah.
So I love it. And a little thing for anyone listening is if you listen to the first like 10 minutes of every episode, we don't spoil anything. So if you're curious, if you want to watch something, you can watch listen to 10 minutes of our show, go watch it, and then come back. We do that on purpose, just so you know. But yeah, sure, it's the Citizen Kane of Netflix original series.
There you go. All right, we're taking this to David later.
Yeah.
He's not gonna buy it. So that's not the only thing that you have going on right now, though. You got something that you wanted to come on here to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I have a brand new project. It's I've wanted to do it for years at this point. My first website that I actually put together before I really met anybody, before I knew what Twitter was esportsrealm.com, right? And I did that, and my writing sucked, and I didn't know what podcasts were at the time. So I've actually, I put it on hold. I kind of started doing stuff with friends, and now I'm kind of returning to that idea. So it's esportsrealm.tv is the website. We're covering esports. Esports is a big passion of mine, something I've thoroughly enjoyed for a long time, and I'm starting to create the content behind it so that way I can have more fun with it, interact with it like I like to. We have a new podcast that's going to be a part of it. Is going to be the Blizzard Esports Desk, in which we'll cover just Blizzard stuff in podcast form. That's really where my bread and butter is in terms of my knowledge, and really all my friends, they all play Blizzard games, so it was kind of made perfect sense. On the site right now, we're just covering Blizzard stuff, so eventually I might move forward and grab other games and stuff, but I'll have to find people that want to cover that, because like I said, right now I'm watching all StarCraft 2 matches that lead to, the WC stuff in BlizzCon and the HGC stuff, and that alone is it's like 15 to 20 hours worth of content to watch and kind of pass along information. One of my big goals is to help people shift through all the content that's out there, and they can watch stuff that they like, right? They can watch what the best HGC match is, because they might only be able to watch one for the week. So in the articles and then on the show, I'll recommend a game to watch. It's also, you have all these tournaments out there, right? Everybody, their mom and their dad can throw out a tournament and say, hey guys, watch our tournaments, great. But if you don't really pay attention to the scenes, you don't know if the tournament matters when you go to BlizzCon, for example, right? Do the people in this tournament matter for when I go to BlizzCon in November, right? And that, I think, hurts, right, when there's too much. If we kind of take a step back and talk about your professional sports, right? Your non-esports. That on Sundays you watch the NFL, and eventually it's going to lead to the Super Bowl, and these teams are going to be the teams that are competing here. It's not that easy in esports, and my goal is to make that a little easier, right? Blizzard has helped out. Obviously they're doing HGC, they're going to do Overwatch League, but even StarCraft is a little confusing. So I'm trying to make it a little bit easier for everybody to kind of figure that out and know what to cover. So if you look at our stuff and we're covering a little bit of something that you love, it's because I'm really paring it down best I can. And then we have a community section for community tournaments and stuff like that, so we can still support the people that are having, fun little things. So that's our goal.
That is awesome, because I know me personally, I love watching esports, but I have no idea who this team is or who that team is. And I see people tweeting go this. I'm like, I don't know if they're good or who they are. It's like how I am with sports. I love my Bears. I can't tell you who the roster is. I just know I love them. So that's it.
Exactly. And that's what like Blizzard's helping with, right? The Overwatch League is going to have local teams. So you're going to have hopefully a team that you can consider local for you. And you can just be like, okay, I'm going to root for them just because they're around me. And at least I know somebody I can watch. And that'll make it easier. But until then, we need a little help, right?
That's really cool. And that's something that I have to say, at least for me, matches are a real need. Because like you said, I mean, enjoying Overwatch, there's what? There's Gosu, there's I can think of probably 5 or 6 tournaments that I've seen and I have no idea who these people are. I don't know if it's legitimate or it's, some guys from like a frat house running a tournament, like with a couple guys that they found on the street. Like, you never know, and I think it's a really interesting and really cool environment to see what is eventually going to be an NFL stature organization being built, and all of these things happening around it is really, really cool. I'm sure it's really exciting for you to be in the space. Now, what are your thoughts on Overwatch League? Like, what, for those that don't know a lot about it, can you expand anymore? Because we've used that term several times, but for folks that don't know what it is, what is the Overwatch League?
So it's basically Blizzard's attempt to make a pro league like the NFL. So that way you have one place to really look for the best and the most competitive action out there. There's a few things we know about it now. There's still a lot of details that aren't there. But like I said, there's going to be localized teams. Now, if those teams are going to be country teams or if they're just going to be U.S.-based, they haven't told us yet. So we're going to be finding out about that kind of in the near future. There's going to be a combine. For anyone who's ever really got into sports, a combine is basically everyone shows up, they play, the coaches, the team management, they watch the players play, and that's what helps them decide who they want on their team. And then here's the dicey part, and really a part where I feel strongly that there needs to be a draft. And they've never said if there's going to be a draft or not, but I feel super strong that there needs to be a draft of some kind, not just, hey, free reign, everyone just sign whoever you can. And the main reason for that is what a draft will do is it'll get the best players spread out among the leagues, right? Right now, if I wanted to and I had enough money, I could just go and sign all the best players and we can win, right? We can be the New York Yankees and just win games and then eventually get beat by the Red Sox. Go Red Sox. But you know what I'm saying? So when we go to, I don't know if anybody watched the World Championships, right? Or the World Games, I think they called it, for Overwatch at BlizzCon. South Korea just ran it, right? They easily, we knew they were going to win. Now, take those 5 players from South Korea, have them drafted onto other teams, and now all of a sudden you got more of an even playing field, right? And it'll be more competitive. It'll be more fun, really. Right now with esports, it's all about really grabbing the best team you can, and if you can win, you can win. It's not about a competitive, fun environment, and I think that's what's actually holding it back a little bit. So I think a draft is needed. If it's all of a sudden it's like, hey, everyone just go try to buy people, then we're going to just fall into the same problems I see right now.
Yeah.
And the other thing it's going to do great is the teams are part of the league. There's no in and outs, right? You're not going to lose your spot in the league. So the team owners actually have a reason to kind of keep things going in the league, right? Your teams stay the same, the players change. And that's what people are used to. And I think that'll make it easier for people to follow because, my wife, all of a sudden, she decided Misfits is her favorite Heroes of the Storm team, right? She's like, she watched them, she loves them. Now, if they get kicked out come halfway through the season and another team comes in, then she's like, oh, now who do I root for? I think I'm a strong believer in rooting for the team, not necessarily the individual players, because it's their team games,
Right on. That's really cool, and I think that is going to be, I loved Murloc Geniuses, in Heroes. Like I don't play Heroes, but I watch competitive Heroes. I find it very exciting, and they disappeared. And then they came back, and now, are they here this week?
Yes, they are. And that's the confusing thing.
Yeah, but you don't with these teams that are being run, not actually out of someone's basement, but that are being run, on a whim and a prayer, as far as monetary backing and if they're around and all of the kind of the personalities that come with these sports. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Overwatch League teams handle the problems that we see in other esports, where the folks that are at the top of their game, there seems to be a lot of personality conflict in and around esports, and I think it'll be really cool to watch how Overwatch League deals with that.
It's going to be a shakeup because all these teams that have built esports are going to be angry when Robert Crafts and the big name professional people, if they get a franchise. And the smart thing really is for them to find someone like a Robert Kraft and say, hey, look, we have the esports side, you have the money and the sporting side. Let's team up and create a team, because it's if it's done right, there's going to be a lot of angry esports teams out there. And I hate to say that because I do love esports and I love a lot of the teams out there. But in order for it to be taken to a new level, there's got to be some shakeup. You know, you gotta crack some eggs to make a good omelet.
Yep.
For sure. And I know.
Oh, go ahead, T.
I say someone like me who doesn't like, I watch esports, but I don't know any of the big names or the big players. I've seen team names come and go, and 1 week people are talking about this team, and then there's a new team. So just to have these set teams for someone like me who is super casual about it, it's gonna be like, oh, I recognize this, instead of being like, okay, who is this team this week and what are they doing?
Mm-hmm. And that's the goal
awesome.
too, is with the website, is to help people keep track too, right? So Chris, perfect example, Murloc Geniuses, right? I think that was like 90% of people's favorite team, right? But then they became Astral Authority, and then we got to watch Astral Authority at BlizzCon, and then they went to China, and now they're Tempo Storm. So it's like, okay, let's keep this straight. You're changing your team name. Now all the players stayed the same, but the team name changed. It's hard to keep track. That's all.
That's really cool. And they're also gonna be normalizing salary as well, aren't they? Like because I know that's been one of the biggest complaints from within the esports industry is people not getting paid well. A lot of the esports teams maybe not being run entirely ethically, or like issues and I don't know. I hear about this a lot of outside of Blizzard esports, but I'm sure that's leaked into Blizzard esports as well. How big of a game changer industry wide do you think it's going to be for Blizz to be setting salaries for these folks?
I think it's going to be great. So they already started that with the HGC. So the top 8 teams in each region have I call it a stipend, but I know it's not actually a stipend. They get paid, right? They're getting a certain amount of money. I don't think it was ever disclosed, or if it was, I missed it. So what that's going to be great, right? So there's people who are going to be like, you know what? I'm going to switch to this game because I want, a little bit more conformity. I want to know what my paycheck is. I want to, I don't, not to say that having a family and a wife and kids and everything is a way of like showing like that's your worth in life, but to see players that can make a living out of this, that's kind of an example, right? You're going to see people who have wives and kids and stuff like that, or husbands and stuff like that, and that just shows it's maturing as a sport or as a profession. And right now you don't see that, right? You don't see someone win an event and have their kid come up on stage. They're so excited. But eventually you're going to need that in order to do that. And a salary is going to show people that, right? That having a stable job is going to let you then be like, okay, I can game for a living. And then not only that, but then I can have a life as well. Because right now, because I talk to a lot of people, my brother, my cousins, none of them like esports. They're not video game people. And that's one of the things they point out. They're like, they're just people in their basements playing games, or, they get together and they live with some friends and they win some tournaments. In order to legitimize it, you need to have adults. Now, adults playing and making a profession out of it. And I'm using air quotes, so no one get mad at me. But that's what's it's gonna take, and normalized salaries is gonna be a big part of that, because if a player feels stable, not only will they be better in terms of the game because they won't be worrying about the money they're making, but they'll also be able to be happier in life, which I think is a way of making the game better, because you're like outside of your profession you're happy. Like I have to be happy outside my profession, Otherwise, I don't do good when I go to work. I work to support my family. That's my goal, right? Is to make sure they're happy. So I'm sure there are definitely pro gamers out there that feel the same way, especially later on. And you're going to see other people coming from other games, like other great gamers from, say, League of Legends are going to, or Call of Duty or whatever game.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to come over to Overwatch. They're like, hey, I can make definite money. I may not be able to hit like a huge $100,000 tournament, but if a consistent 50,000, I'll take it, because then it's not a chance. I'm not risking my livelihood.
No, do you think with the increased stability, do you think this will finally, and you used air quotes when you said when you were talking about age.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's very important to point out. And I wonder if that hasn't been some of the detriment of esports gaining a massive fanhood. Because there has to be, can we all just admit, as people that are not in our teens, that it is somewhat upsetting on a personal level to see like a 16-year-old kid winning $100,000 for playing video games 18 hours a day? Like just a little bit of jealousy there. But
Mm-hmm.
do you think this will mean that we might finally see that age bracket maybe widen a little bit? Will we see the 28-year-old Heroes player? Will we see the guy, the 45-year-old guy that the old dude that we can cheer for? Do you think that's even a possibility, or is that just outside of the realm because kids are awesome at video games and reaction times and stuff like that?
No, I think it's definitely a possibility. I think the problem is you start to hit an age and you're like, oh, I might need to be a little more solid, right? You in your head are like, I don't know if I can guarantee this. It's funny because I definitely was looking at the ages of the Heroes of the Storm players this weekend. My wife was kind of questioning me on it. And the only player that I can remember is Hasuabs. He was 28, right? And the only reason it hit me because I remember Hasuabs. He was a StarCraft 2 pro for a while. So I remember him from years ago. And if you think about it, any pro sport, your ages are younger, right? I just brought it up because I was curious. Is the average age of every NBA team, and they're in their 25 range, right? Everyone's right around 25. I just ran through the list real quick. So it's going to be a young person's sport forever. You're not going to see, I think, people in their mid-30s, right? I'm not going to break into esports anytime soon. But you're going to be able to make a significant amount of money once it rolls around that you can then live happily in your 30s and 40s, right? Maybe you're never going to make these $2 million contracts, right? Maybe you will. But at least to start, it's going to be at least what you can live on. And then having a stable league means there's going to be coaching spots, right? You're going to have coaches and management and all these other positions that open up that mean you, Chris, can take now that we're old.
So I don't necessarily disagree, but I know there are so many, again, age, air quotes, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be a wider gap. Like, yes, the youngins can own it, but I don't know. Like, I just think that you might see the 45-year-old silver fox out there ponying some kids. Like, I think it's not out of the realm of possibility to have some curveballs.
I don't think it is either. I think it's definitely a possibility. But I don't think we're going to see that for another 15 years, right? Because the people in their 40s now don't want to be pro gamers, right? They still have that stigma. Like, I mean, I'm 32 and my brother who's a little bit older than me, my cousins who are even slightly younger than me, they still have this stigma of, video games are not a way of making a living, right? They still think it's just that. So once everything changes, give it 15 years and the 21, 22-year-olds that are playing now, when they're closer to their 40s, then you're going to see a more diverse age group.
Nice. Yeah, I can definitely, I can agree with that and back it up, because you should see the looks that I get when I tell people that I like, hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm a Twitch streamer. What do you mean? I play video games on the internet, and like that's what I do full time. The looks that I get are proof that this world is not yet ready for video games to be entirely mainstream. But we're making leaps and bounds. And that's really cool. So when does this podcast when is it going to launch? Do you have a date? What's going on with it? Let us in on this.
So right now, I'm doing small segments for any show that wants to have segments at the end of their show. So if you have a show, I do about a 1 to 2 minute segment that I can throw at the end of any show. Now, I want the podcast to launch before HGC started, but the biggest thing I'm running into with the podcast, and actually everyone can help here if you're really interested, is I'm trying to find correspondence for each game, right? So Heroes has NA, EU, Korean, and China, right? I can't watch that much. It's just physically impossible. Like we said, I have a full-time job and I have to support my family. I can't do it on this yet. So if you're interested in helping to cover stuff, if you want to be what I call a correspondent for any of the Blizzard games, reach out to me on Twitter and we can talk. Because I definitely need people to help cover Hearthstone. And I have a couple of people for Overwatch, but having extra person here and there would definitely help. So my goal is in 2 weeks to launch like a first episode, but it won't really get into the full run of things until I have like a full crew. It's like any if you watch Sports Center, there's not just one guy. You have a team of 8 to 10 really that are really doing it, and there's even more people behind the scenes. So I'm hoping for 2 weeks to have an episode out there, and it's going to grow, so it's going to take a little bit of time, but
right on. That's really exciting. And guys, if you're looking for him on Twitter, it's at Geek of Random. That'll be in the show notes, and we'll talk about it later as well. But if you just heard that and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to reach out right now, at Geek of Random, and you should. Adam is an absolute pleasure to work with, and this is a really, really cool project. I wish you the absolute best of luck with it. I know it's been percolating for quite some time.
Yeah, I talked about it at BlizzCon 2015. That's when I first started wanting to do it, and then just family stuff happened in the 15 to 16 years, and then now's the time for me to push forward with it. So
I think it's a good time for it. It really is with everything that's happening with esports. This is the perfect time.
Right on. Well, guys, this is going to bring us to the magical and wonderful part of the show where we do shout-outs. Adam, you got any shout-outs for us this week?
Oh, yeah. So my first shout-out is to the two of you, right? I don't think you guys don't get shout-outs enough, right? Chris, I'm sorry I kept you awake at 4 a.m. when you got back to the house at BlizzCon. I know that me being in there at 3 and you getting there at 4 and keeping you awake from until like 6 o'clock when I woke up, it was tough. Yeah. So that and Turart's like, I've listened to the Game Case show. That's kind of where I know you from mostly. I've actually joined CTR like 3 times and got removed probably by Darius 3 times.
Yeah.
My problem is I've always had a solid guild, right? So every time I try to join CTR, I get kicked out because my guild's actually doing well. So I'm like, oh damn, I forgot to log in this, in the last 90 days. So, on that, all my friends over on Twitter that, that I talk to.
Right on. Right on. T, how about you?
I got a long one this week because we just ended the 4-year anniversary for CTR. So this is the last time you guys hear me talk about it for another, 11 months. And then we hit 5. Shout outs, COD Squad. Thank all of you so much. You ran us through some mythics. You stuck it out with me for 2 nights. It was amazing. Thank you. My event planners, whereas you helped us out with the for the Alliance, the fight night. I heard some great things about both of those. Sinja Transmog contest was awesome, and everyone loved doing the mini event that you ran on Saturday, the AQ. I keep forgetting what it's called. And Cuddles, thank you for coming in and helping me stream with Darius and Overwatch. We had a blast, even though I got my butt kicked. It was fun. Jules and Giz, you guys ran some hero stuff. Thank you. Zug and Mage, your Hearthstone thing was awesome. Darius, again, thank you for participating with us Lobies who just kind of meddle in Overwatch, whereas you are a professional. And we are done. CTR, you guys are awesome. Year 4, we're getting into it. Let's see what year 5 has to bring. Finally, I started listening to a new podcast called The Summoning Stone, which they're on episode like 2, maybe 3. That's how awesome of a follower I am. I don't know what episode they're on. But it's a lot of fun. Right now, it's just kind of the 3 of them sitting in a room chatting with each other about stuff. But go check it out if you haven't. Navarre, Giggles, and Lay, they're all on it. It's kind of a blast. It's a fun Saturday night thing to have on in the background while you do real stuff, or to have on and actually, listen to and watch if you want to. But yeah, year 4 is done, guys. So excited. Cuddles, hon, what do you have this week for us?
Well, first and foremost, huge shout out to Adam for coming on the show, man. It's always a pleasure doing any sort of talking with you. You really are one of my favorite personalities in this sphere, and I appreciate you. Outside of that, Marconin for our wonderful new intro, and what you guys are about to hear in just a few minutes, our wonderful new outro. So it was about time. We're coming up on I want to say 2 years of the game case. Does that sound right? That doesn't sound right.
February. Didn't you say February 8th or 12th or something?
February or March.
Yeah, it's close.
In there. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. It was time for a refresh, and we have the wonderful and lovely Turarts in here. So, huge shout out to her for joining the show. Also to everybody in CTR. The anniversary events that I was able to attend were all amazing. Thanks to Darius for doing the Overwatch thing. That was a lot of fun. And for T, for the opportunity to stream it. I had an absolute blast. I know my chat room had a really good time. And I know I'm forgetting something here. Oh, I'll go ahead and mention this now. We are not recording next Sunday. We will not have a show next week due to me being at PAX South. If you would like to hear me over the next few weeks, if you are a Patreon of Netfreaks, then you can find our Mystery Science Theater style. Oh my gosh, what do we call it? It's a
audio commentary.
There you go with the words. Good thing I don't host a podcast. Audio commentary of Kung Fury. I will also be recording with a new to me podcast. I'm going to be recording talking about Shady Sam, Swayze Shady. I don't know. It is
Sneaky Pete.
Sneaky Pete. There you go. I'm going to be recording about Sneaky Pete. Watch my Twitter for notifications about that. And a week from Friday, on the 3rd of February, you can find me on Azeroth Roundtable.
Oh, nice.
For the very first time. I'm super excited to go over and hang out with those guys because they're definitely giants in the WoW podcasting world, and I'm humbled by that opportunity. But guys, this is going to bring us to that all-important moment of the show where I get down on my virtual knees and I beg and I plead for those all-important 5-star iTunes reviews. My friends, it helps get the word out about the show. If you put one in, we'll even give you a shout-out right here. So that's 5 stars for the Game Case show, 2 stars for StarCraft Korea in America in Korean, a podcast where a bunch of American guys try to talk Korean about StarCraft in Korea in America. It's very confusing. 2 stars for that one. 5 stars for your favorite English-speaking podcast, The Game Case Show. Adam, where can people find you on the internets?
Well, the best place to look is over on Twitter. I am Geek of Random on Twitter. And for the new show, new everything, follow at Esports Realm TV.
There you go. Both of those, we'll have links to both of those in the show notes. And wow, this is so weird. Like I normally like take a deep breath and speak for 45 seconds, like in this massive vomit of words. And we're not going to do that now that I put that term vomit of words in your mind, because I like to leave you guys with a nice taste in your mouth at the end. But that's gonna do it for tonight. So Adam, Turart, say bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Game Case out.
Thank you for listening to The Game Case Show. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. You can find Cuddles at The Game Case, Turarts at Turarts, and you can find the show at The Game Case Show. Join us live Sunday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/thegamecase. Archived episodes are available at youtube.com/thegamecase. The theme music for the show is Celtic Impulse by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com and is licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0.